The Miami Dolphins will be flying up to Seattle to take the Seahawks, but they will most likely be doing it without their quarterback, Tua Tagovailoa, who has suffered a devastating concussion in their Week 2 loss against the Buffalo Bills. Tua, we wish you nothing but the best and a full recovery and full health. With this game here, Skylar Thompson looking like they're going to be leading the Dolphins against Geno Smith in Seattle. We're going to be breaking down the entire game and some of the matchups that you need to watch within the game. And at the very end of the video, we'll be providing our predictions. But before we get into that, we want to give a huge shout out to everybody that subscribed to the Tracy Take during our Week 2 prediction video series. We set a goal out to get 100 new subscribers, and I can't believe it, but we actually got more than 200 during that week. So thank you to everybody that helped us definitely achieve and overachieved our goal. And Ryan and I, we think, let's not get too greedy. Let's just see if we can get another 100 new subscribers during this week. So if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to the Tracy Take, leave a like and a comment. Let us know who you think is going to win here. So Ryan, let's talk about the elephant in the room though real quick with Tua. Really hope that he gets just healthy. Love watching him play. It's especially too with how quick he can release the ball and just how he works within that Dolphin system. I think that it is unique style of play just because they're so freaking explosive. They're so quick. It's just unfortunate to see him have to deal with some of these injuries. And so wish him nothing but the best. But with that being said, though, it is just a big drop-off in just overall quarterback play. But and it's not the only injury that they're dealing with right now. That offensive line is decimated with injuries, with multiple injuries at the left guard spot and then the left tackle spot. Terran Armstead had to come out of the game with a shoulder issue as well. That's something to definitely monitor throughout the season or throughout the week leading up to this Week 3 game. But in general, though, the Dolphins team, even before the Tua injury, was just getting dominated. Just giving up big plays, allowing the defense, the Bills defense, to dominate. Then on the flip side, too, Seattle, they win another close one, and that was obviously a game that you were watching a bunch as well. So I kind of want to let you speak to that a little bit more. And so, but with that though, kind of what do you think of the Dolphins? Kind of moving forward from here, without Tua, or forever long Tua is out. We'll have to wait and see. But also then too of the Seattle Seahawks, kind of after watching them play in Week 2 and also what you've seen in Week 1.
Yeah, I have. So starting with the Dolphins, I have some concerns just about how the Dolphins were playing in general. I think they, like you said, were being dominated before that. They really only played like a good quarter and a half of football against Jacksonville in Week 1. Whereas like before in Mike McDaniel's tenure, they had been coming out to really hot starts and then finishing the season slow. And like now they're starting the season slow. And I think you look at that sideline after the Tua injury and after Buffalo was up, I think it was 31-10. It was just like Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill, both guys were just like sitting on the bench, just like kind of dejected, not interacting with anybody, sitting by themselves, just very isolated. It's just a really bad picture overall. And I'm sure that was a very emotional game, especially with the Tua injury. It's just, I feel like, especially as like leaders in that locker room, you want to be up and active and motivated, like in kind of working with the guys that may not even get that much playing time, and do maybe that. And I just felt it was a bad look for the Dolphins, and it's a really rough start for them.
Well, I remember Herbstreit talking about that too during the game, and I remember thinking about that somewhat. And to me, I was like, maybe they're a little dejected from the loss, but also too maybe they're concerned for their friend. So I don't really know. We'll have to see if it's kind of a consistent trend throughout the season. Because if that is the case, though, then then there's maybe some leadership questions as well. To me, I thought kind of throughout the game, what was interesting to me is kind of on what got them to that point, on why they were down to 2 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns, and struggling to move the ball. Is the play calling to me, I think, was very interesting. It felt like they were extremely effective with Devon A-Chain, and then they kind of would get away from that, and that's when the interceptions happened. Like, admittedly, Tua wasn't playing well before the injury with just the whole offense as a whole. But the one thing that was working was getting the ball to A-Chain, and they got away from that.
On first and second down, the thing that was weird was like in short yardage situations, they were very predictable. They just kind of did the vanilla answer, whereas usually Mike McDaniels has a lot of motion, and a lot of things like distractions and kind of dressing things up. And I felt like a lot of times they just, all right, well, we're going to get a 6th lineman in here and we're going to run Devon Achane right up like behind the guard and see what happens. And it's like the Bills just split the gap and then like it's a tackle for loss. Like it just felt very vanilla. And I just thought the play calling was interesting. I think the best way I can describe it. So for me, I think that was an interest, like a weird dynamic where, as I feel the Seahawks, they escaped the first 2 weeks with wins. Definitely with that offensive line being banged up, Kenneth Walker being out. This New England game was really close, and it really was kind of a coin flip game there at the end. They did just enough to edge out the Patriots, and they have good playmakers. I feel like that game was kind of exactly what we predicted it would be. It'd be a close, kind of hard fought game where Seattle would just have just enough explosive playmakers in the skill position realm to edge them out. So it was just a good performance, a good team performance. I think exactly what you're going to get, like from Geno Smith, like 250, couple touchdowns, maybe an interception here or there.
He had more than that. To be fair, he had 33 for 44, 327 and a touchdown. He had a good game.
He had a really good game. I will say
he had a 73 QBR. And so,
and I will say he had like 60 yards on one blown coverage to DK Metcalf. So that is, I think, pumping that up a little bit more. Like then DK Metcalf.
Well, if you take that play, then he hit that 250 mark that you were talking about.
Yeah.
So, but I think he had a good game. And
he did.
You were watching that game a lot more than I did. And it was fun watching you watch the game because you're very high and low. And so, but I think the Seahawks are solid through and through. And kind of one of the things I think they have good skill position players like DK Metcalf, 10 catches, 129 yards. Jackson Smith-Njigba, 12 catches, 117 yards. Tyler Lockett only had 2 for 15, but I think that's kind of one of those things. Be like, all right, JSN had 115 yards. Next week it'll be Tyler Lockett that gets 115 yards. And so I think they have a very good skill position player room. I think they are improving in that. They're improving on the defensive side of the ball a lot. They were a little bit banged up on the offensive line side, correct? I think you were reading that before the game. And so if they could get healthy on the offensive side of the ball, and then also healthy on the offensive line, and if Kenneth Walker gets healthy, that's where I think that combo balance of the rushing game plus in their overall effectiveness passing the ball as well, I think is good what makes them deadly long-term overall. But in general, I think a good, well-rounded team, good, well-rounded victory against a sneaky Patriots team that we've talked about kind of being similar to the Cardinals team last year, where not the best talented – and the most talented, but they have they play extremely hard, and it's a tough win. So let's kind of move over to this Miami-Seattle game here. But before we get into that, if you do like to put a couple bucks down on Dolphins or Seahawks football games, check the link down below for the BetUS link. They have a bunch of great promotions going on right now for first-time players where you can check out all the NFL games and their odds, over-unders, and a bunch of other sports as well. And with this game, we'll have to see kind of throughout the week what the odds are. But that being said, Seattle's probably going to be like 5.5 point favorites going into this game. Miami on the road after losing to, supposedly losing to I don't think he's officially out yet as of the recording of this video. We're recording this Sunday night. But I don't think he's officially out. But I would be shocked if he is out. A couple other injuries as well. If he isn't out, yeah. Also, got to watch the offensive line. How does the offensive line develop as well? Got to watch the running back room. There's just a lot of injuries right now, especially on the offensive side of the ball for Miami. And that's where it's kind of hard to check out for X factors. I think for Seattle, it's going to be an interesting watch. The Seahawks secondary versus Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle as well. But at the same time, though, I think the thing for Seattle is you got to keep everything in front of you. I think if they're able to keep everything in front of you, it's going to be interesting with Skylar Thompson as the quarterback, just how effective this offense is going to be compared to having Tua in there. And so it's going to be interesting just to really see just how Seattle is going to react. Because I think if Seattle can just contain this Miami offense and not allow them to kind of just go back to the old form, even though like if you have a healthy, maybe even a little bit more mobile quarterback in Skylar Thompson, Um, they should be able to contain this offense pretty handedly, I would think. And if Kenneth Walker and the offensive line is able to get healthy throughout this week, then I think a balanced attack against this Dolphins defense, I think should get the job done for Seattle. What are some of your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think Seattle, I think Seattle is just going to be a too well-rounded of a team for the Dolphins. The Dolphins are so banged up on the offensive side of the ball. They put two pretty bad games offensively, even with Tua in on tape so far. Teams have kind of, I think, figured out how to really stop a lot of what they wanted to do. And I think the Seattle defense, they have a really good secondary. Devon Witherspoon, Tariq Woolen, Boye Mafe has kind of really put things together in his third year so far. And so I think the Seattle team really well rounded. You kind of hit the nail on the head with I was going to say being very balanced. This Miami team is not. I really don't like the defense that they put together. I know they just extended Jalen Ramsey, but he's 30 now, 29 or 30, and he's getting, I think, well past his prime, and they just are so banged up on the offensive side of the ball that Seattle would come out, run the ball, control the clock, play field position. I think Miami's really going to struggle in this one.
Yeah. No, it's hard to go with Miami here just because there's so many question marks, and I know. So I'm also going with Seattle as well. Which is kind of unfortunate because I was kind of looking forward to this game, with Tua being healthy, because I think it'd be a very unique matchup with the Seahawks secondary going up against this Miami offense. And so, but Seattle at home had them going 3-0 with a backup quarterback. I know crazier things have absolutely happened in the league. They're all still professionals as well. So it just, as of now, seems a lot more opportunities for Seattle to win than Miami.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think Miami has to play a perfect game, no turnovers, a lot of defensive stops, and maybe take advantage of a couple unlikely mistakes from Seattle to have a shot in this one. So it sounds like we're both taking the Seahawks here. So let's go ahead and wrap this one up. If you guys have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below on who you think is going to come out ahead in this matchup. Will it be the Miami Dolphins? Will it be the Seattle Seahawks? And that will see you guys next time.